Hi, in this video we're going to actually start typing some HTML code. So I already have my two HTML pages created and my graphics folder and my image is in here. It's called me.jpg. It is important that you know the name of the image because you're going to need to put that in the code. So go ahead and look at your image and make sure you know what the name is, jot it down, or you can look at it later when you're typing it in. And if it's something really long and complicated, I know some digital cameras will name things as just a series of numbers or sort of like the date and some various letters and whatever. So you can rename it by just right-clicking and going to rename, and that way you can name it something a little simpler. It's also important that you know what type of file it is. If you're using Windows 7, you should be able to click on it, and down here you can see it's a JPG. I think if you're on a Mac, I'm sure there's a way to look for it. If you can't find your image type, just let me know and I'll help, but it's usually pretty simple. And one thing I wanted to mention, since I have this little icon, yours might look different. Mine is, Firefox is the default program to open up this HTML file, so it shows Firefox as a little icon. So if I double click this, it's just going to open in Firefox, but I want it to open in Notepad. So you can just right click and go to open with and then choose Notepad if you want to open it from there. I already have mine open in Notepad, so we're just going to get started. The first thing that you need to put in an HTML file is the doc type. This is basically telling the browser, hey, this page is written in HTML and so you need to read it. It's kind of like, I guess, maybe telling somebody what language you're going to start talking to. Like, hey, I'm going to talk to you in English, so be ready for English, or I'm going to talk to you in French. We probably wouldn't do that, but for the browser, we have to tell it. There's other programming languages like XML, PHP, XHTML, there's all kinds of, so you just have to tell it that we're using HTML. So to do that, you just use this bracket. All your HTML tags are going to have this bracket. It's found on the comma key on my keyboard, so if you just hold shift and hit the comma key, you will have your bracket. And then it's just an exclamation point and then doc type in all caps, and then you just type in HTML, and then you do the end bracket, which is on the period. So you'll hold shift and hit the period key and you'll have your end bracket. So that's just going to tell it that it's HTML, and then we need to let it know that this whole section is going to be HTML. So for that, you just do the opening bracket, type in HTML, and then the closing bracket. Now one thing about HTML is everything is going to have a start and an end. Each tag, here's our start tag bracket there and our end bracket there, but there's also, for some tags, going to be an actual whole other ending tag. So I like to just go ahead and space down and go ahead and type my ending bracket here, because it's easy once you get a bunch of text in here to forget to end things, so I just go ahead and do it from the beginning. And to end it, you'll do your bracket and then you'll do the /, which is on the question mark key, and then type in HTML and your other bracket. So that's how you'll end a tag. So the next part, all of our content is going to be going in between these, and our next part is going to be our header. So you'll just start the tag with the bracket and then type in head and then end the bracket. And then again, this needs to end. It's not going to be all the way down, so I'm just going to space down a little bit and end the header section. And then all that we're going to have inside our header section is just a title. So you'll just do a title tag. And then whatever you type after the title tag is going to be what shows up in the browser tab. So here's my web page. This is what it's going to look like at the end. So we can see this is the title of my web page up here. So I'm going to type in Carly Gurman's web page and then end the title. Now you'll see the way that I'm organizing this is a little different. The HTML does not actually care about any of the spacing that I'm doing. So I could put everything like this. Let me just move this up here. And the browser would read it the exact same way. But to me, this gets really confusing if you write everything in one big block. So that's why I space everything down. So I'll have the head there, and then I'll go ahead and keep my title all on one line. You could have it where the title was like this, if that's how you like to view it, but I like to keep mine all in one line. And then again, my HTML ending bracket all the way at the bottom. So there could be other things that you would put in a header if you were using CSS, which you'll see in this module as a way. It's called Cascading Style Sheets, and it's a way to add formatting and visual interest to a web page. If you use an external style sheet, you would link it in this header section. But for us, we just need the title. And then the last big section is going to be the body. So this is where all our content's going to go. And again, I'm going to space down and end the body tag. So now everything else that we type in here is just going to be whatever we want to display as the main part of our web page. So I'm going to start with an H1, which is a heading level 1. There's different levels of headings, I think from 1 to, I'm not even sure how low it'll get, but 1 is usually the biggest and the boldest, and then 2 might be a little smaller and maybe still bold. 3 might be smaller and not bold. You might be familiar with Word uses headings. You can change to a heading in the top right of a Word document. It's a similar idea, but I just want this to be a bold heading at the top, and I'm just going to call it Welcome, and then end the H1. One thing about the spacing, the browser does care about spacing in between these tags. So for example, if I put a couple spaces before, that will show up in the browser. The spaces here won't in between the tags, but the spaces in between the start and the end tag, it does matter. So I'm just going to make mine no spaces in between. I just want it to just show welcome. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my menu. So to do that, I want to use an unordered list, and the tag for that is UL. I'm going to space down so we can see it a little better. So for the unordered list, there needs to be list items. So what is actually going to show up in your list. So to signify that, you just do an LI. And I usually tab over, so it sort of helps me know that those are the list items of that list. You don't have to. You could leave it there. You could leave it there, but I'm going to do it this way. And then similarly to our H1, whatever we type here will show up, and then you end the tag. So I want that one to say home, and I want this one to say page 1. I'm going to space there. And then I'm going to end my unordered list. And I want these to actually be links to the pages. So if you're on the home page and you click the page 1 link, I want it to actually take you to page 1. So we need to make an anchor tag or a link tag for this. And I'm just going to show you the tag first, and then we'll apply it to the list item. So for the anchor tag, it's going to start with an A, and it's going to be the similar thing where we have this, and whatever is typed here is going to be what shows. So I'm going to type home. But at this point, it doesn't know where to link out to, so we have to tell it, and you do that in this first start tag. So you just space after the A, and then you type in href. I'm not sure what it stands for. I'm going to guess like hyperlink reference, but it's basically just you're going to tell it where you want it to link to. So to do that, you do an equal sign and then a quotation mark. It's very important to remember that. And if you want to link to an outside web page, you can do, let's say, www.google.com. You can type all that out with the www and the .com and all that. And then, again, you end the quotation mark. If you want it to stay, if it's going to be one of your own pages on your own website, all you have to do is type in the name of the page. So I want this one to go to welcome.html, which that's the page that we're on, but I'm still going to go ahead and leave it like that. And then again, I'll make another link to page1.html with the quotation marks, and then I want it to say page 1, and then you end the link. So now I have these two links. I want them to actually show up here as the list item. So I'm just going to select that and cut it or you could just copy it, but I don't need it down there. And then I'm just going to erase that, and then right here paste it in. So now it's going to have a link that goes to welcome.html, that in the text that is displayed, like the part that the user can actually click, will be that, and then it's in a list item. And then same here, I'm just going to hit Control X and then Control V to paste. So now I have these two links in my list.